How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be looking at Superman Returns 2006. This is the only Superman movie I ever grew up with. I never finished it because I was really young and didn't have a great attention span because it is 2.5 hours long. It's a pretty long movie. That's only 30 minutes off of Avengers Endgame. It's a pretty long movie. I just want to talk about the things I liked, things I didn't like. I'm not sure if anyone really likes this movie anymore. And I know Mr. Sunday Movies did a caravan of garbage about Superman Returns. I think I'll go watch that after this, but I didn't want any other videos influencing my opinion. I watched it last night, held my attention the entire time as opposed to when I was younger. Now that I'm grown up a little bit, I can stare at a screen for longer. And this movie was very, very entertaining. I'm just going to talk about things I liked, things I didn't like. Number one, I really like the suit. And I really like Brandon Routh playing Superman. The suit is very simple, it's very bright, and it's not too detailed. And what I mean by that is it's not like the DCEU. In fact, this entire movie, the suit and the way the movie's shot and the acting, it's not so dark and gritty and super detailed. It looks like a comic book movie. It doesn't look like, oh, let's make all these superheroes try to blend into the real world or whatever. Like try so hard as the MCU did. The MCU just took these heroes, put them, in a live action setting, and that's what this movie does. This is Brandon Routh's only role as Superman. I think they had a sequel, but I didn't pan out clearly. But the lighting on all the environments, it looks like the inside of the Daily Planet. It looks like it's out of the comic book. The suit looks like it's out of comic book. It's all very simple. The plot is simple. The characters are simple. You may think that's a bad thing, but for this movie, it's very easy to follow. Superman is all about saving people. He's not tearing through buildings, killing thousands like in Man of Steel. That's just a big thing. Superman exclusively saves people in this movie. And another thing I really like is Brandon Routh's performance. He really displays or understands the majesty and the power behind Superman. He's very reserved, very polite to everybody, and he just feels like this amazing figure that he is, that Superman should be, and Brandon Routh portrays that very well through his demeanor and his pretty stellar acting. It's not the hardest role to play Superman, but nevertheless, he does it really, really well. So Kevin Spacey plays Lex Luthor, and he just discovers the crystals of in the Fortress of Solitude, and the crystals have the ability to grow to enormous sizes. So he decides to, his evil plan is to build an entire continent and to replace North America or whatever. So it's a big evil plot by a big evil guy. It's Lex Luthor, and Kevin Spacey does a great job playing him. And it's just, he's going to make an entire landmass, and it's super evil. So, and that's the plot. And then Superman goes and stops him. Very simple plot. The real thing is, it's called Superman Returns. Superman's been gone for 5 years. He went to Krypton to see if there are any survivors. Comes back 5 years later, decides that he's the only one left. And he's just trying to fit in again. He goes back to the Daily Planet, gets a job, meets Lois. And him and Lois are trying to decide where they stand because they've had a history. And that's really the big theme of the movie, is kind of the return, is coming back to a place that's very familiar, but you haven't been there in so long, and trying to figure out what your role is there anymore with your past relationships, your job, and if the world even needs Superman anymore. So that's a theme, but the movie does not go into that so much. It's just kind of like Superman's trying to figure out where he stands in Metropolis. And that's about it. It doesn't really wrap it up in a nice little bow. It just says, hey, this is happening. And then, the credits will roll, and you'll be like, was there any conclusion to that? It's like, nope. I guess, Earth still needs Superman. And that's okay, but it's kind of the major theme of the movie and doesn't really get wrapped up at all. Because the villain's plot is foiled. Lex Luthor ends up on a beach stranded somewhere. I already mentioned it. The lighting is really, really good. What I don't like about the DCEU is everything is all dark and gritty. It's boring. It's super boring. I barely made it through all the DCEU movies because they're just so dark and gritty and really, really boring to watch. And that's my Marvel bias showing. I get it. But this movie really, if they made a DCEU, universe around, starting with Superman Returns or maybe like combining Dark Knight, that'd be great. But they had to recast everyone. And anyway, I don't like the DCEU if you haven't noticed. But all the environments are super well lit. And there's this, comic whimsy and comic accurate to nearly everything. It's live action, obviously, so there's that degree of detail. It's not an animated movie, but even just starting with the suit, it all looks super bright and colorful, and I'm attracted to all that. Not that, again, if you look at the suit from Man of Steel and then compare it with this movie, I don't know what you prefer. When one's not, I guess, not better than the other, but I prefer the Superman Returns suit. Just look at it. It's great. You got the big red symbol. Nothing's too extraordinary. It's just, it works. It is what it is. You know it's Superman, and it does its job. There is this subplot that I'm not a fan of. Lois Lane had a kid with James Marsden character, but then he throws a piano at a goon, so then you think maybe Superman is the father instead of James Marsden's character. It's an understatement saying that subplot went nowhere, and that's maybe an idea that they would have expanded upon in a sequel, but that little kid throwing a piano definitely means he's superhuman. I don't know. It really, really went nowhere. Another bad is again, the plot is very simple. Some people may be turned off by that, and it's interesting how the movie runtime is super long, and the plot is so cut and dry. It's like a first Sonic game where there's Sonic and then there's Eggman, and Eggman's being bad, so Sonic has to go stop him. It's really down to that level, but the movie is more of a character piece on Clark Kent trying to figure out where he fits in with Metropolis and just life in general anymore, and Lois Lane is battling whether or not Superman is needed anymore. It's more of a character piece. And then you've got Lex Luthor kind of faffing about trying to make a continent. That's the movie. Period. Dot. That's it. Whether you like that or not, it's up to you. It's again 2.5 hours long. It's on Netflix. That's how I watched it. I really enjoy this movie. I didn't so much when I was little because I could never finish it. It just kind of felt like this unattainable thing. But I'm like, you know what? I think I remember liking this movie, so I watched it last night. And again, really, really, my favorite thing is the suit. I love the suit. It just looks so clean. It looks, it just looks super clean. You can't even see really the detail on the blue, the blue spandex or whatever. But in the movie, it withstands everything. It's great. I really enjoyed this movie. Give it a watch. It's on Netflix. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for listening to me ramble on and on. Thank you to everyone that watches my content, even though I don't make too much of it anymore. I really, really do appreciate it. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.